From a tough childhood, struggles with addiction, and controversies that could have ruined anyone's career to a survivor who beat the odds to become an unforgettable hip-hop icon. Once seen as a troublemaker, the Detroit artist became the mastermind who made hip-hop mainstream. His name is Marshall Bruce Mathers III. Loved, hated, criticized, and celebrated. This is the real story of Eminem that you haven't heard.
I'm out to accomplish a lot of things, and I want to have a voice in hip-hop.
Eminem was born in 1974 in St. Joseph, Missouri. He was the oldest child of a teenage mom and an absent dad. Right from the start, life was tough for the future rapper. His mom, Debbie Mathers-Briggs, had a really hard time giving birth to him, almost dying in the process. This tough beginning set the stage for a childhood full of chaos, moving around a lot and not having much. Growing up, Eminem's life was all about constant moves, with his dad not around much and his mom having moments of uncontrollable anger. When he was just 2, his parents, who were musicians, split suddenly. They left everything behind to get away from his dad's erratic behavior, starting over in new places without much stability. Eminem bounced around, staying with relatives like his aunt, never really having a stable home. The instability left early emotional scars, fueled by his single mom's uncontrollable anger outbursts. As a toddler, Eminem often witnessed terrifying, speechless domestic fights. He desperately wished to hold on to his little connection, so he wrote countless letters to his father in California. But each plea for a paternal bond, for a love less chaotic than his mom's, went unanswered, crushing his hopes repeatedly. Finally, mother and son settled in Detroit's tough neighborhoods, where economic struggles added to their already tumultuous lives. Detroit became both a hellish ordeal and his most important life lesson. Eminem was the only white teenager in a mostly black, working-class neighborhood. His light skin and awkward appearance made him an easy target for bullying and abuse. And it wasn't just simple teasing. It was serious. In elementary school, young Eminem endured a brutal beating from a classmate named D'Angelo Bailey, who attacked him repeatedly over 4 months. The attacks were so bad that they once put Eminem in a coma at just 9 years old. The aftermath was awful. Constant headaches, concussion symptoms, occasional vision and hearing loss, nightmares, and ongoing nausea. But maybe the worst part was how it affected his mind, leading to antisocial behavior as a way to cope. His mom, struggling with poverty and her own issues, tried to sue the school for neglect, but the case got thrown out, leaving Eminem feeling bitter and vulnerable. Amidst the chaos of his Detroit childhood, Eminem found a glimmer of hope in the form of bass beats and powerful rhythms. His uncle Ronnie introduced him to hip-hop by playing the soundtrack of Breakin', a street dance movie from 1984. The last track, Reckless by Ice-T, struck a chord with him. At just 12 years old, Eminem was officially hooked on rap, drawn to its raw honesty that seemed to speak directly to him. I just loved hip-hop growing up as a kid. It spoke to me more than any other music I had ever heard before, he later recalled in an interview. While his mother worked long hours, Eminem immersed himself in the verses of hip-hop pioneers like the Fat Boys, Run DMC, and Beastie Boys. Initially, he was just a music fan, absorbing every rhyme and energetic beat. But soon, another rapper, LL Cool J, ignited a fire within him. At 12 or 13, Eminem began crafting his own verses, though he admitted he wasn't very good at first. The initial setbacks almost made him give up, but by the time he turned 15, his passion for hip-hop and words burned stronger than ever. This time, nothing could hold him back. So in this new urban hell of Detroit, the rapper's talent began to shine like a rough diamond. The lyrics, as they say, started to become his way out. Every handful of honest and raw verses distilled the pain, anger, and desperation burning inside him. In the song Brain Damage, for example, he launched a fierce lyrical retaliation against his former abuser, describing how Bailey hit him so hard it nearly left him deaf. Unfortunately, his uncle Ronnie, that vital link to the genre that changed his life, wouldn't live to see his nephew's future successes. Before Eminem's star rose, Ronnie took his own life, plunging the rapper into paralyzing grief. Eminem, at his most vulnerable, remained silent for days, lost in the deepest depths of his grief. Still, he knew he had to keep going. In 1986, the same year Mathers moved to Detroit, he met another important person in his life, Deshaun Holton. At a time when the guy behind Slim Shady dropped out of school and had to start working in a factory, Holton's arrival was crucial as he became his partner in crime. They would often get into fights with other kids and figure out ways to make more money. Plus, both were also getting into rap. Holton started using the nickname Maximus, which later became Proof. As Eminem got more into writing rhymes, his friend Proof had been networking in Detroit's underground hip-hop scene. One day, Proof felt it was time to test Eminem's skills in front of an audience, so he invited him to a small spot called Hip Hop Shop. That first spontaneous performance, even though it was in front of just a few people, lit a fire that couldn't be put out. There were some people jumping around. Eminem remembered about those early live rhymes. The Hip Hop Shop started hosting regular rap battles, and the eager MC jumped in right away. In his first matchup, he randomly drew an opponent's name from a hat and beat the event's first winner. This small win sparked something big. Suddenly, Eminem was battling at least 3 times a week at different spots, sharpening his lyrical skills in increasingly intense showdowns. By the time he was in his early 20s, he was a regular on the underground rap scene, traveling around the Midwest to showcase his talent at events like the 1997 Scribble Jam in Cincinnati. Even though he lost the final to a rapper named Juice, he kept pushing forward. He kept battling. Each contest was a chance to improve, with every loss teaching him something valuable. But what he didn't foresee was that, as he faced these defeats, destiny was quietly starting to shift, changing the course of his life forever. During the Rap Olympics event, a talent scout named Dean Geislinger approached Eminem, curious, and asked for a copy of his demo. Little did Eminem know at the time, Geislinger worked with Jimmy Iovine, a big music exec in LA. Iovine then passed the disc to one of the biggest names in hip-hop, Dr. Dre, the rapper and producer who had found fame with NWA. When Dr. Dre listened to Eminem's raw and powerful verses, he was immediately hooked. The honesty in Eminem's talent struck a chord with him. Soon after, while Eminem was struggling in Detroit, broke and homeless after being evicted, feeling hopeless, his phone rang with the call that would change everything. This is about to happen. Dr. Dre had invited him to his famous home recording studios to collaborate. Finally, Eminem would get the chance to shine that he'd been dreaming of. In his first studio session, the producer played an instrumental beat that was still a work in progress. With determination in his eyes, Eminem didn't hesitate. In just a few seconds, words poured out, "Hi, my name is..." Those 3 simple words kicked off the anthem that would make Eminem a star. His sudden fame in 1999 made him stand out in the late 90s pop scene and challenged stereotypes about rap and crime. His music became a hit with early 2000s youth, who embraced his rebellious style. He admitted that his success was partly due to his race. With his debut album, the Slim Shady LP, he talked about the struggles of marginalized white families, known as white trash, and made hip-hop the favorite genre of new generations, surpassing rock and pop. His punkish and exaggerated attitude also led the way in this movement. But even though fame, money, and hanging out with industry stars sound appealing, the truth is that the shadows Eminem carried inside were far from disappearing. In fact, the internal demons that had haunted him since childhood found new fuel in his skyrocketing fame. From his early days as an MC, Eminem's lyrics already hinted at a troubling substance abuse issue. Albums like the Slim Shady LP were brutally honest about his use of drugs, alcohol, and sleeping pills. He'd get pills wherever he could, just taking whatever was offered. What started as an occasional escape quickly turned into a destructive addiction. Eminem became the worst kind of addict, functional, but silently destroying himself. At its worst, he couldn't imagine doing anything without being high. Recordings, performances, interviews. Everything was a blur under the influence of substances meant to calm his demons. But instead, they fueled a spiral of self-destruction that nearly ended in tragedy. In 2007, Eminem hit rock bottom with a methadone overdose that nearly killed him. Although he managed to pull himself out of that dark place, relapses were a constant threat. Just a month after his overdose, he found himself back on pills, unable to break free from their hold. Finally, he made the sensible decision: rehab. After rehab, Eminem turned to sports to stay sober and avoid temptation, as well as to shed some weight. However, as he's admitted many times, much of his successful recovery is owed to his 3 daughters, Haley Jade, Eleni, and Whitney. Now, Nearly 20 years sober, Eminem is a true legend of hip-hop and popular music. His long career filled with hit songs has cemented him as one of the most celebrated and best-selling artists of all time. Two of his iconic albums, the Marshall Mathers LP and The Eminem Show, achieved diamond certification by selling over 10 million copies each. But beyond the numbers, his impact on popular culture is hard to measure. Eminem's unforgettable role in 8 Mile and his Oscar-winning hit Lose Yourself expanded his influence far beyond rap. Even big names like Kanye West, known for their confidence, have admitted Eminem's greatness. No one's going to be bigger than him. The trailblazer who brought hip-hop to the masses with his rapid-fire rhymes, who became a cultural phenomenon breaking all sales records, and who silenced critics with numerous Grammys and an Oscar, now fully understands his status as the ultimate rap icon of our time. A survivor who rose from a tough childhood, battles with addiction, and controversies that could have derailed any career, Eminem stands today as a testament to unstoppable willpower. His unforgettable legacy has made a lasting impact on music and countless lives. That's the untold story of Eminem. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to know when new videos are posted. Thanks for watching.